Last year, you made a powerful statement saying the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you too.
I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too.
A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question.
Why did Angel Reese suddenly go silent? The same player who once declared that people watch women's basketball because of Me Too had a golden opportunity to double down or clear the air. Instead, she froze. When asked directly during a Chicago Sky press conference if she still stood by that statement, she mumbled 2 words, "Next question." That was it. No follow-up, no defense, just a weak dodge that left the entire room stunned.
And the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you too. A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question. Yeah, we'll move on. Thank you.
Do you feel like you're
Next question. Yeah.
Okay, so next question.
And just like that, her confidence collapsed. This wasn't some tricky setup. It wasn't a smear campaign. It was her own quote, served back to her a year later, and she couldn't handle it. The same Angel Reese who painted herself as a cultural icon suddenly had nothing to say. No stats, no passion, no explanation, just silence. And that silence? It spoke volumes, because when you claim to be the reason people watch a sport, you better have something to show for it. But all Reese had was air.
Videos involving Angel Reese working on layups. Now, look, the layup issue is a real issue for Angel Reese, and I don't understand the taking all the...
But that wasn't the whole story. The awkward moment exploded online. Clips of her next question reply racked up millions of views. Fans, critics, and analysts alike called it what it was, a dodge. Not just of a question, but of responsibility. This wasn't about being the villain. This was about being exposed. Because if you really are that important, you don't run when asked to prove it. You own it. But Angel didn't. She disappeared behind the mic, leaving her boldest statement to rot in front of everyone.
It's not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Folks, it's been so long since I've seen this clip. Back to unrock. I'll spare you guys the...
And what came next made it worse. People started digging, and the numbers were brutal. Chicago Sky games aren't selling out. Her return to LSU barely filled half the seats. And preseason games? One couldn't even crack 5,000 fans. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is breaking ticket records, selling out every arena, and having teams relocate to NBA venues just to hold the crowds. So when Reese ducked that question, it wasn't just a bad look. It confirmed what people were starting to suspect. She's not the reason fans are tuning in.
Oh, people are watching, not just because of one person. All right, but they're watching because of Me Too. Me Too. They're playing at LSU. There are people...
Still think she's the face of the league? Think again. The truth is, Angel wanted the spotlight, but not the pressure that comes with it. She loved the attention when it was all about trash talk and TikToks, but now that the receipts are due, she's hiding. Clark doesn't have to claim she's the reason for the WNBA surge. The numbers say it for her. Angel? She had a chance to back up her own words, and she failed badly.
Watching for Angel 2. This arena has a capacity of 13,215 fans. In case you're wondering, in order to get that place half full, you need 6,607 fans to show up.
The numbers don't lie, but Angel Reese sure did. She stood in front of the world and declared she was just as responsible for the rise of women's basketball as anyone else. Bold, confident, maybe even delusional, because when critics took a closer look at the actual metrics, ticket sales, celebrity turnout, national buzz, they found something shocking. Angel Reese isn't moving the needle. She's not even in the conversation unless it's about drama. Let's break it down. Her games aren't selling out. Not even close. Chicago Sky attendance has been flat, sometimes barely hitting 5,000 fans. Compare that to Caitlin Clark, who's selling out NBA arenas with 17,000 plus screaming fans. And it's not just the crowd sizes. Look at the faces in those crowds. Celebrities, athletes, influencers, they're all showing up for Clark. Reese? Crickets. There's no stampede, no frenzy, no hype.
Other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. And again...
And the media knows it. Every major outlet is covering Clark's impact: CNN, ESPN, Sports Illustrated. Meanwhile, Reese is stuck being mentioned in Instagram stories and TikTok drama. Her claim that she's the reason people are watching? It's not just questionable, it's laughable. When the biggest headlines attached to your name involve dodging questions and stirring controversy, you're not elevating the game, you're distracting from it. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud.
They didn't open the upper bowl. They did not open the upper bowl, and the lower bowl was half empty. It was at under 50% capacity. And obviously, look, the area of the crowd where the TV cameras are being shown was full.
Angel Reese wants to be seen as the face of women's basketball, but refuses to do what it takes to earn that title. She makes bold declarations, plays the villain, and then cries foul when she's called out. If you're going to claim greatness, you better have the receipts. But every time critics check the numbers, they find nothing but empty seats and excuses. And the comparison is getting more embarrassing by the day. While Angel talks, Caitlin performs. While Reese posts selfies, Clark pulls record-breaking views. And while one dodges accountability, the other just keeps dominating on the court, in the press, and in the culture. That gap? It's no longer debatable. It's undeniable. But what happened next made Angel's credibility take an even bigger hit.
If it's too hot, get the out the kitchen. If you can't take the heat, don't fly close to the sun, as they say. Or fly too close to the sun, you get burnt. Angel Reese, why are we next? This guy set you up perfectly to give an answer of you being full of yourself. Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. They are only watching because of me too.
You know who celebrities show up for? Not Angel Reese. The star-studded courtside appearances, the paparazzi flashes, the viral moments from VIP sections. All of that energy is orbiting around one name, and it's not Reese. Caitlin Clark has A-listers flying in just to sit courtside. NBA legends, actors, musicians, they're packing arenas to watch her play. Meanwhile, Angel's games feel more like background noise at a local rec center. The difference is night and day. You don't have to be a stat geek to see it. The cameras aren't turning for Reese. The influencers aren't reposting her clips. She's not trending unless she's in the middle of some controversy. And even then, it's never for what she's doing on the court. Clark, on the other hand, trends for game winners, impossible threes, and changing the entire economics of the WNBA. Let's talk jerseys, because that's where it gets humiliating. Caitlin Clark's jersey isn't just selling well, it's breaking history. The second best-selling jersey in all of basketball, right behind Steph Curry. Think about that. Ahead of LeBron, ahead of KD, ahead of every other WNBA player combined. Angel Reese? Nowhere to be found. Not top 5, not top 10, not even in the discussion. If she really was the reason people watch, wouldn't people want to wear her name? But they don't. And that's the problem. You can shout all day that you're the moment, the movement, the reason, but if no one's showing up, buying in, or tuning in, you're just making noise. Real stars don't have to beg for attention. They attract it effortlessly. And the cold truth? The WNBA is blowing up, not because of Angel's claims, but in spite of them. And when it comes to impact, the gap is about to get even more brutal. Because while Reese fumbles with her image, Clark's changing everything about how the WNBA operates, and the next section proves it beyond a doubt. TV networks don't play favorites, they follow the money. So ask yourself this, why are 41 out of 44 Indiana Fever games nationally televised this season? That's 93% of the entire schedule. More than the Lakers, more than the Warriors, more than any other WNBA or NBA team. And there's only one reason, Caitlin Clark. Not Angel Reese, not anyone else. Clark is the headline, the ratings machine, the reason executives are fighting over broadcasting rights. This isn't hype, it's hard business. Networks don't gamble, they go all in on what works. And Caitlin Clark is a guaranteed win. When she plays, people watch. Period. Viewership surges, ad revenue spikes, social media lights up. Meanwhile, Angel Reese's games, lucky to trend outside local news or fan pages. If she was really the draw, wouldn't she be the one lighting up TV schedules? But here's what proves it wasn't luck, it was strategy. The Indiana Fever didn't just draft Clark and hope she'd be good. They built around her. Veterans like Diana Taurasi once ruled the league. Now players like Sophie Cunningham are calling Clark the next version, only more dangerous. The Fever went out and stacked their roster with seasoned pros, Kelsey Mitchell, Dana Bonner, Natasha Howard. Why? Because they're not here to develop slowly. They're here to win now, because they know exactly what they have in Clark. Meanwhile, Chicago looks lost. What's the plan for Angel Reese? Is she the centerpiece or a TikTok mascot? Is she the future or a short-term distraction? No veteran lineup, no championship vision, no signs of real investment. It's like they're unsure if they're building a team or just running a PR campaign. While Indiana is out building a dynasty, Chicago can't even build a full stadium. And what happened after that made the gap even more embarrassing. Because fans aren't just showing up in person, they're flooding the internet, crashing ticketing sites, and turning every Clark game into a national event. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is still trying to prove she deserves the spotlight she handed herself. Some players get drafted, others get a dynasty built around them. That's the difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Indiana didn't just pick a star, they went all in. From upgraded training facilities to a roster packed with championship-level talent, the Fever made one thing very clear: this isn't about hype, it's about domination. Clark was given the keys to a franchise that actually wants to win. Now compare that to the Chicago Sky, and it's almost sad. There's no vision, no strategy, no urgency. Reese was handed a jersey and a spotlight, and that's where the support ended. While Indiana added veterans like Diana Taurasi's clone Sophie Cunningham and defensive beast Natasha Howard, Chicago is still figuring out if Reese is an athlete, an influencer, or a long-term plan. And spoiler alert, you can't build a championship on confusion. The Fever had a plan from day one. They surrounded Clark with veterans who know how to win and aren't afraid to hold her accountable. Players like Kelsey Mitchell and Dana Bonner weren't brought in for headlines, they were brought in for hardware. The goal wasn't to trend, the goal was to dominate. And it shows. Everything about the Fever, from the team chemistry to the court spacing, is built around maximizing Clark's skill set. That's how real franchises operate. Meanwhile, the Sky are still guessing. There's no system, no identity, no clear role for Angel Reese. Is she a scorer? A rebounder? A leader? Even the front office doesn't seem sure. And you can't build a winning culture on maybe. While the Fever sharpen their sword, Chicago's still deciding whether or not to pick one up. But the most brutal difference is what came next. Because Indiana's investment didn't just create a team, it created a movement. Fans aren't just buying in, they're all in. And what that movement revealed next put Angel Reese in a corner she couldn't talk her way out of. It's easy to talk loud when there's nothing to prove. That's exactly what Angel Reese did. She stepped in front of cameras, waved her finger, and told the world she was just as important to women's basketball as anyone else. She didn't ask for the spotlight, she demanded it. But the second that spotlight started to burn a little too bright, she blinked. The same voice that once said, "They're watching because of me too," went quiet when asked a simple question: "Do you still believe that?" Her only response? Next question. That wasn't confidence, that was retreat. And it exposed something critics had suspected all along: Angel Reese is all performance until it's time to perform. Her entire brand has been built on attitude, not results. She talks about pressure, about being the villain, about carrying the sport. But when it's time to own the role she created, she disappears behind vague answers and victim posts. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, lets her game do the talking. No need for bold declarations, no dramatic interviews, no social media pity parties. Clark walks into the arena, drops 30, sells out a stadium, and walks out with 1 million more fans. She's not selling drama, she's selling dominance. And that's exactly why the media follows her. The merch flies off shelves, and every WNBA camera tracks her like she's LeBron in his prime. This is the part Angel doesn't seem to get. Being loud isn't leadership. Stirring drama isn't legacy. You can't scream under reason and then run when asked to explain why. The facts don't back her up. Attendance? Flat. Jersey sales? Weak. Celebrity support? Nearly non-existent. Her biggest headlines this year haven't come from game highlights, but from awkward press moments and public meltdown. Critics aren't picking on her, they're doing their homework. They've seen enough to know the difference. Clark is consistent. Clark is strategic. Clark is impactful. Angel Reese? She's unpredictable, reactive, and constantly trying to rewrite the story that her numbers already told. It's not hate, it's accountability. And the reality is this: when you say you're the draw, but the data says otherwise, that's not confidence, it's delusion. In sports, talk is cheap, but results are everything. And right now, no one is putting up bigger results than Caitlin Clark. While Angel Reese is still clinging to last year's quotes and playing the villain in press conferences, Clark is out here rewriting history with every game. She's not begging for attention. She's not pointing fingers or ducking questions. She's showing up, selling out, and shutting down the noise without saying a word. That silence? It's louder than any trash talk Reese ever shouted. Because when your actions speak this loud, you don't need to explain yourself. Clark doesn't have to remind the world she's valuable. The league is literally restructuring around her. TV networks, merch sales, packed arenas, ticket prices, viral highlights. She's the reason all of it is exploding. Meanwhile, Reese keeps talking like she's leading the revolution, but hasn't even started the movement. The difference between them is no longer subtle, it's massive. One is building a legacy brick by brick. The other is building a brand on empty claims. One turns pressure into performance. The other turns questions into silence. And fans can see it. Executives can see it. Even Reese's own teammates can probably feel it. The WNBA has a new face, and it's not the one making excuses. But here's the part that will sting the most. This season will expose everything. There's nowhere to hide when the cameras are always rolling and the stats are impossible to spin. Angel can't outrun the numbers. She can't talk over the truth. Every weak game, every empty arena, every missed opportunity, it's all going on record now. And next to Clark's explosive rise, it's going to look even worse, because some players chase attention, others change the game. And in case anyone's still confused, this season will finally make it clear who's who.